is good. Yeah. Choose your anthem, what you waiting for. Come in peace, but they just look for war. It's no game, this ain't fun. The mission isn't done. It's your chance, you can't run. Some nights I wonder why I wasn't left to die. Yeah. When you let me step into the fire. So many sins, I can never pay the price. Yeah. If it means losing you, I never roll the dice again. Wish I could shed my blood for you the way you did for me. Shed my blood for you the way you did that.
Welcome to 448 Podcast. I'm excited to introduce to you Panther Matumona. He's an incredible artist that I've known for, let's say, going on a little more than a decade now, I'd say.
Just
a
about.
decade. You know what I mean? I've had a pleasure of shooting a few videos for him. I got to hang out with you personally on a few,
Yeah, we definitely
different, tips. Panther's a passionate creator. He pours his music into his heart, out of his heart, man. Everything he does is
passionate creator.
Passionate, So it's it's been amazing to watch your journey unfold, and I just want to dive into your amazing journey, man, your story.
That's what's up, man.
So
happy to be here, man. It has been a while.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
How long has it been?
Definitely over 10 years.
That we been since the basement with the beats.
Since the basement with the beats. All that. That's the first time I was like, oh man, if I like leave the song like this mixed, this is what it's gonna sound like mastered.
Yeah.
And like knowing the difference between the two, I was just like, I was green, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, man, since the old days, man. I'm glad to see your journey. We met, like, when did we met? How did we meet? Oh yeah, we met through a mutual friend there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I see what you did.
yeah, it was a mutual friend
Yeah,
though.
straight up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was your impression of when you first met me? I'm just curious.
Yo, I mean, it was through the lens of that mutual friend, you know what I'm saying, and like the environment that we was in, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is cool, you know what I'm saying. This
Yeah,
voice is crazy.
it was definitely it was kind of a space like this, a jam space that we met the first time. It was in I think it was in St. Henry.
Yeah,
One of
right,
those
St. Henry,
one of those buildings
exactly,
there.
exactly. You know, we connected after that, and you gave me your first record, or at least one of your records, the first one I heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of those the Don Breeze albums.
The
back
Don
in
Breeze
those
records,
days.
yeah, straight up. Yeah, you was like a chess piece, like you're flexing.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
know that
oh,
one.
look at this.
I still got some of those.
I
some.
have the record.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you still
I don't
have
have a
it?
CD player no more. But
Yeah,
hey,
me
you know what I
either. I actually my PlayStation, I could put it in there.
mean? This crazy.
But let's take it back, man. Like take it back to the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up. I got a weird story, you know, because I'm technically speaking, I'm a transplant. I say Vancouver is my hometown because that's where I grew up,
Okay.
right? But technically speaking, my parents were refugees, and they came to Quebec City, where I was born. They had a choice between Quebec City, Australia, and somewhere in the States.
Okay.
So, because my dad is from Congo,
Okay.
he's like, okay, they speak French in Canada. So he's like,
So that was like a place like they had an option through what, like immigration, or
do
like they were
a refugee camp.
refugee. Okay.
Yeah, straight up. And
Okay.
so before all the crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? Before they kind of clamped down on like letting people in the country, you know what I mean?
So you were born where?
I was born in Quebec City.
Oh, you were born in Quebec City.
I was the first person born in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they came here in, I'm assuming, the 90s or not 80s or something like that.
Like late 80s,
Okay.
early
Okay.
90s. Oh, I was born in 90, so it's like
And you were born
late
in
80s.
Quebec City.
I was born in Quebec City.
So what led you to Vancouver? I thought you were a Vancouver guy, like from.
Listen,
You said a transplant, right? I guess that's what you
I
said.
know, yeah, technically a transplant. I was one by the time we were in Vancouver, so my parents didn't stay here, not even like 1 year, you know.
Okay, so
It
yeah,
was like, yo, Quebec City can get real racist at that time, you know. It was real racist. My parents were like, we gotta get out of here.
Okay, so they felt the heat, so they were. Like,
They felt the
okay,
heat. They were
yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
want all this.
yeah.
My dad was like, I do not want my children growing up in Toronto because they're gonna become criminals. I don't know where that came from.
And the country they came from, did they speak French too, or is it
In Congo, yeah, they speak French.
That's just French speaking.
But my mom grew up in Zambia, and they speak English over there.
Okay, so
So
she
it's like-
didn't know anything. It was like a whole
Yeah,
new
she
thing,
learned
yeah.
French when she came here.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Okay.
She went to school and learned French. She was a seamstress in the
Okay.
beginning, yeah.
And you were born in what year?
I was born in 90.
Okay, 90. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you never experienced Quebec City at all. So you were
Nah.
just okay. So all your early memories of is Vancouver. What got
Yeah.
you into music? Like as growing up?
Yeah. you
Like I
know,
guess let's dial it back a bit. Like so what was your passion that got you into music? Like what was your
Actually, it was my dad.
Okay.
It was my dad. He was a guitar player for this Congolese group. He actually knows some French OGs. So there's a
Okay.
rapper in France called Maître Gims,
Okay.
and he knows his dad. You know, so he's like all the people that's kind of hot now. He knows like the OGs that came before them because
Okay. That established.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so when I had my own room when I was a kid for like 3 months, because I have an older sister and a younger brother. And before it was always like me and my brother in the room, and then my sister had her own room.
Okay.
But one day I was like, man, I want my own room so bad. And that didn't last long because I started having nightmares. But
Well, you got your own room.
for a little bit.
And then you wanted
know
to
what I'm saying?
bounce
Then I
back.
went back. You know what I'm saying? And it was
get
wild.
that.
It was
I
wild.
get
But hey,
that.
I'm human. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
But
Definitely.
in that short amount of time, I have this memory of my dad, because his studio was at the foot of my bed. So he had like
Okay.
all his machines
His
and mixers and
equipment,
stuff like
everything.
that.
Wasn't a computer back in those days.
was definitely not a
actually
computer.
Analog,
It was analog. Yeah. Yeah. And
straight
so-
to from device to recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Straight up. And so at night he would practice. And so I have memories of him like practicing his guitar right as I was falling asleep. And I think that's where like the inception kind of began, you know?
Instilling music into your body, soul, mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And of course my mom, you know what I'm saying, black moms will play all sorts of music when it's like Saturday and it's time to clean up.
Yeah.
But we was trying to stay asleep because it's like we know she playing that music early in the morning on Saturday. She's going to
It's
want
time
us
to clean. It's time to clean. I had an auntie that was like that too.
Exactly.
God rest her soul, Auntie Allison.
And she, hey, straight up.
You got to clean too. You got to get up. You got to work. You
Yeah,
gotta do something.
straight up. Exactly. No, it's crazy too because it's like,
yeah.
she don't it doesn't matter. It does not matter what you feel. Like it's just you gonna clean. And
Yeah.
she gonna play all sorts of music. You know what I'm saying? All different kinds of music from like Lady Smith Black Mambazo. You know what I'm saying? Like all the like black African choirs and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah, that's a little over my head, I guess.
It's African music, you know.
Okay,
Because
yeah,
a lot of people say like, okay, I grew up on the Beatles and I grew up on. I didn't grow up on none of that.
Okay, you grew up on some.
I never really listened to the
soul
Beatles.
music,
I know that might be controversial to say, but I never really listened to the Beatles. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, not that I don't appreciate what they did
music, yeah,
in music, but like
definitely.
I never really listened to that. It was just African music and all different kinds of music. But then my mom had her like Shania Twain phase. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so she liked country music. She got into that.
I don't even know who did this. It must have been the white ladies at work. You gotta get on this Shania Twain, and then I started liking it. It was wild.
You can see that the influence of that definitely reflects in your music.
Don't say that. That's
Like
crazy.
no, but I'm talking about world music and
Okay,
all kind of
yeah,
not
yeah.
just one genre.
Oh, for
You're
sure,
not
for
just
sure.
one kind of.
Yeah.
You're not a rapper. You're not just a singer.
Yeah.
You're everywhere, and you probably could touch in those environments too.
If I wanted to, yeah. you know.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
Country music. Soul music.
I
mean,
love it.
We still created that too.
And
so.
listen, I love country music and I love soul music. You know.
Yeah.
There came a point where I was like, there's no genre that I don't like.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that it's very narrow-minded to believe that like there's a genre that you don't like. There's too many songs. It's mathematically impossible for you to hate every single song from a genre.
Yeah, you got to be
Because-
pretty close-minded to
Yeah.
just hate everything from
There's
some
too much-
kind
there's
of
too much
genre,
music.
right? Exactly.
You know what I mean?
There are some vibrations and sounds that you're gonna like. Just like in some country music, I'll be like, oh, that twang, that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Exactly.
And then somebody will maybe even sample that towards another,
Exactly.
But sticking to your adolescence, I mean, like as you got a bit older, 13, 14, where were you at that age? Where were you still?
That's when I started because my parents always wanted us to be in music.
Okay.
Like my brother and sister somehow they got piano lessons, and they didn't stick to it.
Okay.
But when I was 12, I started playing guitar, and that's what really got me like
Okay.
jumping off the porch, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Where like you're creating your own.
Basically, yeah, because my dad taught me. He would play songs that were impossible for me at that age, and he'd be like, "You're gonna learn this." And then when I
gonna
finished
learn
learning,
it.
after like sitting in my room crying, trying to figure it out, like he like those skills that are necessary to play that, like just showed up. You know what I mean? After having done it so many times, actually, I wanted to play the saxophone. I wanted to play the saxophone. That's what I wanted to play. I was
Okay.
like, that's the cool instrument.
Like,
My dad was like, nah.
Because you
nah.
see all those cool
Yeah.
jazz guys back in the day. Exactly.
But my dad knew I was going to be in high school one day, and the guitar is the one that you want to be able to play. You know what I'm saying? He had a picture. I don't even know where this picture is at, but he had a picture of him in the bed with like a guitar in one hand and a woman in the other hand.
Okay.
And I was like, that's not my mom.
That's not my mom.
So regardless, that he must have been cool. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like,
Yeah,
I was like, that's wild. That's
Musician, man. That musician lifestyle, that rock star lifestyle, right?
crazy. Yeah, straight
Definitely.
up. I don't know what was going on, and I didn't ask no questions.
So I'm assuming you probably like to play in bands or at least that type of style of music. Like, what was it like? Hip hop? Like, what were you playing guitar? What kind of music were you producing with this guitar?
I was playing a lot of rock music.
Okay.
A lot of rock music. I played like all sorts of guitar music. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like whether it's like metal, prog, screamo, country, like folk music.
Okay.
My cousins would clown me because they was listening to Ludacris.
Okay.
At the time,
you know
what I'm saying?
odd one out for the cousins, Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're just like, why you over there playing all that white music? I'm just like, you don't understand.
Like, this is it. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
it's soul.
You don't listen to
still-
Soundgarden? Straight up.
So when did you start like because I had met you as a hip hop artist. When
Yeah.
did you like start to get into hip hop?
Right around I was like 17 when I started writing my first raps.
Okay.
And that was like I was still playing guitar. I was actually in a screamo band at the time.
A
You know,
screamo band.
Yeah, straight up.
So
It's like a hardcore, it's like a melodic hardcore band.
okay.
So it was like very much a product of the no black people that were in Vancouver.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And these were all black members?
No, they weren't.
Oh, they were white members.
There's
okay.
there's no
Oh,
black
oh,
people
okay,
in,
okay.
in Vancouver.
Yeah. What was the name of that group, by the way?
It's called Hats Off Gentlemen.
Hats Off? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. Is there any old Spotify
Artifacts?
Yeah, artifacts.
There's a fossil. There's a fossil online
It exists.
on YouTube. I actually revisited it the other day because I was like, I gotta go back to the history. But like, there's an album that we recorded live off the floor in like a crackhead studio in like a bad part of town.
Okay.
Like it was like kind of like, almost like 1-2 takes each song live off the floor.
Okay.
And we recorded it and named it after. We named the album "We Broke Ribs."
We broke ribs.
Our band was it was very cathartic to listen to us. It was very aggressive music. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Really hardcore, like wilding out on stage, all that kind of stuff. And this girl broke her ribs at one of our shows.
No way.
So the name of the album was "We Broke Ribs."
Broke her ribs.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
broke
That
ribs.
actually, that sounds about right.
Yeah, straight up.
Were you guys like drawing? Were you drawing crowds back then? Like, were you performing? or
Yeah,
doing
we started a
anything?
movement.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, that was the first time I went on tour.
Oh, okay.
I was about 15, 16, and we needed a chaperone, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So like the singer, Dean, his mom was a nurse, and she had some time off, so she drove us in a Dodge Caravan all the way to Alberta so we could play house parties.
Wow.
And all
And this is stuff that you were booked for.
Yeah.
You were making money off music.
Oh, no, we weren't.
Oh,
we were just doing it for the love.
Oh, this is just for the love.
Yeah, we were just doing it
But
for
the
the love.
experience must have still been
Yeah, the experience was
life-changing,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
During your rap career, we saw. I noticed that I was looking up some of your stuff, and I remember we'd seen there was like a controversial song with a Caucasian girl saying the N word.
Yep.
What was that? What was your mind frame of having that? Was that for shock value or?
I was like, it's gonna be lit. That's who was in the studio at the time, and I was like, come over here, get in the booth. You know what I'm saying? I got something for you. You know what I'm saying? I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it. Okay,
wrote
so
it.
you wrote that.
I wrote that. I was like,
She
come
was
say
probably
this.
nervous. She's like, "Oh my god!" To this day, she still has to deal with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, straight up. I mean, to this day, well, nobody even knows her. It was like this little.
That was like a one-time thing.
It was a one-time.
She's not
thing,
even an artist,
and it became this whole thing in my city. You know what I mean? It became like a problem. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
you made.
But my
you got
band was, you know what I'm
publicity
saying?
out
Like
of
the
it.
publicity was,
It
you know
worked.
what I mean? It did work, and I was naive.
Were you guys performing that song?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I think we did once or twice or whatever, like with her, but like generally speaking, like that was one of the
What's the
the
scene
who's
like
this
in
who's
Vancouver?
this kid named Panther doing this wildness.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the scene like in Vancouver for hip hop and in general? Like,
There's a lot of talented people,
okay.
but there isn't much of a scene.
Okay.
You
like
have
industry-wise.
the same guys that you see everywhere.
Okay.
And I guess, every city kind of has that group of people, but you don't see a lot happening as far as like the scene in Vancouver.
Okay.
You just have a couple of guys who are very talented and they're doing their own thing, or they're part of that like clique.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Like it's kind of like the gatekeepers of the industry.
Yeah, it's almost
I
like
get it.
gatekeepers, and
Yeah.
like they're not really like if you do a show at a fairly large venue, you're gonna see the
Those
same
people,
group
the
of
same
people or
people.
whatever. So
They're
if you're
there.
if you're not fitting within that, which I wasn't.
Oh, really?
Because I was like rapping, but I had a band.
Okay,
I didn't go the
okay.
other route where it's like rappers usually start with like a producer or producers and they start with beats and stuff. I had live bands because that was my upbringing. You know what I mean?
I feel like I thought you would blend it in right away. I mean, just with your style. Okay, I guess you've developed a little more. We'll jump into that after.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess there had been some growing, like different way, like styles.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
stuff that you've learned over the years. But you ended up coming to Montreal. Is that why did you do that?
So what happened was after the hardcore band, that's when I kind of started really being like, okay, I'm gonna be an artist by myself. I'm gonna do a solo project, and I recorded a song. It was like the first song I ever really recorded, and it was with a guy who did sound design, and he did like gaming and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And he still does it to this day. He has a company called Power Up Audio, where he does like basically like all the like music and background sound effects for games and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shout out
Okay.
Kevin Regamy,
Yeah.
by the way. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Shout
He
out.
recorded my first like hip hop song, and by the time I had two, I had people asking me to play play it live. Like they wanted to
okay.
like back up my band kind of thing.
When did
know?
you get signed with Dog Records?
Oh, that was down the line.
Oh, that was okay. Was it?
That was in Montreal. This
Oh,
is all,
it
this
was
is-
in Montreal.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was
okay.
long. This was long before that.
Okay.
You know, and also shout out to Ray Mosaic, because when I really first started, I ended up in this club. I don't know what the name of the club was. I have no idea how I ended up inside this club, but I got in
Okay.
because I was very much underage. And this guy's just like, "Oh, so you rap?" And he's like, I was like, "Yeah, I do." He's just like, "Okay, cool. You ever recorded anything before?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, "All right, 9:00 tomorrow." I'll
This
come
was
to-
at like
come
a
pick you up."
club or something.
Yeah,
or
a club
some
with
just
like
kinda
some people
one
in
of those-
hip hop. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
industry kind of setting.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
honestly, there were just some kids that were making beats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they were like 27 at the time, and I was like 17.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah,
like,
they're not kids.
yeah.
You were a kid. Oh no, I'm joking.
I was,
But young at heart, forever.
I was a minor.
Yeah. He's like, I was a minor in this club doing
Yeah.
my thing.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So the guys just came to pick me up, and we went to like Strathcona, and started recording rap music, and I was rolling with them for a while. You know, so shout out
Did
to
you say
Raymond.
Strathcona?
Strathcona, yeah, it's like a neighborhood in Vancouver.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I'm born in Edmonton, Alberta, and there's an actual neighborhood called Strathcona there. So I
Yeah,
thought
every
that's it.
city has like the same names of everything. Like,
Exactly.
straight up. Like it's like you'll find like
Daniel Street,
You know what I mean?
like
Exactly.
in the States, it's Martin Luther King Avenue or
Yeah,
something like that.
always
right?
in the hood.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like no, like I have a feeling that like Martin Luther King Avenue or Boulevard or whatever it is, the CIA was just dropping like drugs in those neighborhoods. Because how is it every single Martin Luther King Avenue is just the hood?
In the hood,
It's
right?
like okay, it's like Martin Luther King Avenue, but we have to make this the project.
We may be wrong with this though. I mean,
We could be,
there's
you know
got to
what I'm
be
saying?
a city where it's got to be in like a predominantly black neighborhood, but still wealthy. Have some mid-level.
I would love to hope.
Yeah, we would too.
It's not looking good, bro.
It's definitely. So, on your journey to in Montreal, like, how's that been for you, music-wise? I'm pretty sure you've came up and had a lot of opportunities. Have you been performing, taking advantage of those things?
Right.
When
so
you first came
when
here?
I first came
Yeah,
here, it was the band, the guys that asked me to play my music, like to back me up as a band when I
Okay.
first started recording, hip hop for
Yeah.
myself. We ended up forming a band called Panther and the Superfly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That band, we did a lot of shows. We did a lot of shows, a lot of performances. It was the first time I've done like an actual commercial record,
Okay.
with our buddy Condor. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And-
I'm not familiar. You're off the school.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. He was teaching audio engineering at Nimbus, which is a school in Vancouver.
Okay.
And he came up to us and was just like, "Yo, I want to record you guys," And so we had like a budget for that, and we ended up staying at his place in Nanaimo for like weeks at a time. And
This is still back in BC.
Still back in BC.
Okay, so this is before, like how close before you left? How like was it?
It was like right before we left.
Okay, just right before.
It
you
was
left.
the year
Okay.
that we left, actually.
Okay.
We just finished this record, and
Okay. You say we?
the
Who?
band.
You guys
Yeah.
all came here?
Yeah, we all did. Because we've been
Oh.
together for 3 years. We played all the shows that we could in Vancouver.
Okay.
And then we went to Montreal.
Okay.
So it was like me and the drummer and another friend of ours. We had the idea of going to Montreal. We had
Wow.
no plans of doing that. No research, just like
Well,
we
yeah,
just-
that's what bring you to
yeah.
Montreal?
I mean, me, I was like, I've been going to school in French for all these years. I don't want
Okay.
to waste it.
Yeah. And you just heard Montreal is a great city. Let's
Yeah,
go.
for
Let's
music.
okay.
I never thought about Montreal when I came to Montreal, and I find a lot of artists in Montreal think Montreal is the only place that exists. When I came to Montreal, I was like, this is my access to the rest of the world.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
It possibly, I haven't lived in Vancouver, so it potentially
Very small.
Yeah, I have some family out there. They tell me, but they're also in the industry. They own commercial studios, and their space is bumping. So it's not. It's really like a bias. If I see some, I'm like, wow, they're doing well.
Oh, there's people doing stuff.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of them, but there are people.
There
are some gems down there. Yeah. So yeah, we all came to Montreal. We stayed here for about a year. Did some festivals, all that kind of stuff, and then the band broke up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what year was this, by the way?
It was the end of 2011, September 17th, 2011.
Okay.
Is when we came to Montreal. And I remember because I looked around, I was like, this place is, we here. You know what I mean?
And you guys just came. You guys found like a apartment, crash out, like
Basically, yeah.
together.
We found
roommates.
apartments, did that,
Okay,
and then
so
like
you guys,
as the years
you
went
guys were
by, and,
committed.
like,
you took the step.
yeah, we took the step, but
Yeah,
a lot of us, it was like our, like I was already living away from home.
Okay.
I already had an apartment with
Yeah,
a homie like in Vancouver, but for
At
some
what
people,
age? I didn't even ask you that. My bad.
at like 17 is when I moved out roughly.
No, here.
Nah, well, I was
here.
21 when we
Oh,
came
okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was 20, just about to turn 21. But a lot of us had not. Some of the members of the band never lived away from their parents, right?
Okay, yeah.
So they came here, had to find jobs. You know what I'm saying? We had a jam space that was already
Real
available.
world experience
Real
for
world
them.
experiences. They're just like, and it got cold,
Yeah.
freezing,
yeah,
Montreal,
yeah,
and all of a
that's
sudden it's
true.
like, yo, we got all this work to do.
That is
we was
true.
comfortable at home. Now this may not be. If you ask the ones who did, they might have a different narrative. I
Yeah,
don't know, but
okay,
like
but,
that's just
yeah.
the reality of it.
Some of them went back, or they
All of them except for one.
Okay.
And we still locked in. You know what I'm
Still
saying?
locked in. Sometimes it's like that, man.
Yeah.
I noticed you were while you've been here, you've I've seen some overseas projects and stuff like that you've done with some artists.
Right.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So basically, after the band broke up, actually just before coming to Montreal, I started producing.
Okay.
I started learning how to produce because I was like, my homies who make beats are not going to be around anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I was
yeah,
like, I need to at
yeah.
least get a foundation on how to do this.
Yeah.
And then as I came here, band broke up, all that, and then I just kept producing on my own, and some people found out about me, and they were EDM guys,
Okay.
and they basically were just like, we want to do tracks with you.
They heard your work.
They heard my work, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I had no idea where. Hit me up on Facebook.
They're
you know
like,
what I'm
he's
saying?
got the golden voice.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I did some tracks with them, found, the engineer of one of the sessions was also an artist, so I ended up doing tracks with like almost everybody on the label.
And they're from here, or
They're from here.
Or they're from here. Okay.
And then the original guy that I did the track with, he blew up.
Okay.
So
What's his name?
His name's Snails.
Oh, snails.
Right. So he ended up doing the track with me. We shot the video, and then a year later, Skrillex is playing it at like Red Rocks. You know what I'm saying?
Skrillex is playing.
Skrillex was playing this
on
track.
his set.
On his set, right?
Oh my God.
And so that essentially caused the label to blow up, among other things. They worked really hard. They did a lot of
Well,
good
yeah,
work.
they're putting in the work.
Yeah,
They're-
Cannibalen is the name of the record label. They're cool.
What's the record label name?
Cannibalen.
Okay.
Yeah, they did a lot of good stuff.
And that's with Snails and those guys.
That's where they were at the time.
At the
Snails
time.
ended up having his own label later on, Slugs Music, and yeah, he does a lot of dubstep and stuff like that. And I listened to that music because I was around people who listened to that music, but it wasn't my genre. But they wanted a rapper. I was like, all right, we're gonna do it. So I did a
Yeah.
bunch of tracks with them. One of the guys that I worked with, Apache, he also blew up, and we did this song that was a hit in Russia. They put it on So You Think You Can
Yeah,
Dance.
that's what
and
I
all that type of
noticed. I
stuff.
saw like they had like
Yeah.
it was like it blew up. It completely went viral. I saw.
It did, yeah.
And you
then
had
it finally made its way to the United States.
every
and then yeah,
teenage girl dancing to it.
Yeah,
from,
it was wild.
From 17 to fucking 35 doing dance videos.
it was wild.
The whole country.
It was crazy.
And like I was like, what the heck? Yo, this guy, he's something
How you
special
think I
over
felt?
here. That must have been an amazing trip for you. How did you get involved with that trip? Like that, tell me about that.
Yeah,
that process.
so the label hit me up and was like, we're going to Russia because one of their premier dancers. He was like the dancer in Moscow, and he wanted to shoot a video for that song with his
Okay.
dance troupe.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
so
they
this
wanted the artists, and they wanted us to be there with them.
but the video is focused on the dance. Okay.
No, it was
This
like it was
for
like
the
it was
dance
to
group.
make a music video,
but
include the dancers.
Yeah.
and they would
okay, got you.
play that around in
And they can
in
perform
Russia.
it too. And
Exactly.
yeah, got you.
Because the guy who made the dance that all these girls these people were doing was this guy named Miguel.
Hi,
And he was
choreographer
the
from out
dancer.
there.
Yeah, he
Okay,
was like
yeah.
their guy, you know. And so they invited us to do the shoot. We did the shoot with them. And
Where was that exactly?
in Moscow? Yeah,
Oh, Moscow.
yeah.
Wow, that must have been an amazing opportunity.
It was crazy. Listen, there was this guy that we like to call him Mr. One Phone Call. This guy came to pick me up from the airport, and before we even got there, he called me. He's like, "What do you want? What do you want? You want girls? You want this? You want?" I was like, "No," because I didn't want no Russian pimps, kicking down my door in the hotel room.
Yeah.
I was like, "Just give me some vodka."
Yeah.
Back then I used to smoke. I don't smoke no more, but I was like, that's cool with me. Like I'm a simple dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he shows up, and as soon as he's in the parking lot of the airport, he's like, "Here," he gives me a bottle of vodka. He's like, "We're taking a shot right now." I was like, y'all police don't. He's like,
Like,
no, they don't worry about none of that. They're,
This
like
is like
drinking
you
and
just
driving
hopping off
is
the
not
plane,
a problem. Over there.
Experiencing, wow.
Yo, it's crazy. And then
So you show up on set. Now this guy's already an established artist at that point. Like
basically,
Apache,
yeah,
right?
exactly. He's already an established artist.
And
I show
this
up
is
on
all
set.
being funded, I'm assuming, by your label. Was this by your label?
I think it was by the Russians, to be honest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But here's the thing, like, the reason we called this guy Mr. One Phone Call is because he would make one phone call for anything you need. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, this guy made one phone call, and we ended up in a basement at midnight with a bunch of Russian ex-military shooting AKs.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Why wasn't that in the video? No.
Yeah, I know. Probably because it was violently illegal.
Yeah.
But they were just like, just sign these waivers, you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're in some basement, AKs,
Yo,
ex-military.
and listen, they don't even know English, so they're just pointing at
and
stuff.
I'm assuming there's alcohol involved.
No, not at this point.
No. Okay.
Beforehand,
Okay.
but not at this point. You know what I'm saying? So we're there, and they hand me an AK, and they're just pointing at stuff, and I'm just like, I feel like I've seen enough rap videos to be able to figure this out. You know what I'm saying?
Pop that safety.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So no, it's cool. I shot a AK-74, which
In a building basement.
Yeah, building basement. Yeah,
Wow.
and a Glock 36. I remember that was like.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's something me and you have in common, actually. When I was about 5 years old, this is an honest to God truth story, that my grandfather, he had access to some commercial building out of town here in Montreal when I was about 5. And he also shot, but he shot into a bunch of cabinets. Like, I remember it was like phone books and cabinets.
Yeah,
And
phone book.
I remember
Yeah.
we were always collecting the shells at the end. Like, it was like.
Oh, you had to, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
So that's we have a little something in common. Shooting in buildings and basements of commercial properties.
Exactly. Yo, straight up.
Okay, so yeah, so you've been collabing with a lot of these overseas artists. That led you to a few different projects. I'm assuming eyes are opening, people are seeing you. I noticed that you did some movie trailer intros and stuff like that, some
Right.
soundtracks. What have you done?
Yeah, so
I noticed you did a John Wick, right? Is that
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the songs that we did, and it wasn't the same song that we went to go shoot the music video for. It was a different song. That one ended up being in the trailer for John Wick.
Oh, that was also with another EDM artist from also Russia?
No. That they're from here.
Oh, okay.
So in Russia, there was another group that hit me up,
Okay.
but all the songs, like the big ones, were
Yeah.
from Montreal.
But
Like,
it
they
seems
weren't
like
necessarily
they
from Montreal,
highlighted your vocals
Was
the
that?
most. Like for that.
Yeah,
It's like your vocals
my
were
vocals
like,
was the common denominator between all the ones that ended up doing like something.
Are they just beat makers? They're not singing. Is
They're
it
producers, yeah.
Oh, so it is just your vocals. They don't have any other vocals on the track.
No.
And harmonizing and okay.
Right, exactly.
So when you do these things with them, all the projects are literally
Instrumentals.
all yeah.
Instrumentals,
Okay.
and then I would just write something.
I just assumed that they had some kind of you know how sometimes these producers they like to throw their vocals on there sometimes.
No. It was.
This
just,
is all you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So it was like.
That's a strong point that you can't.
I only realized it in hindsight too. I mean,
and
it was in. The first one was John Wick. There was some in a bunch of like random Netflix shows.
really, okay.
Some of them I probably haven't even seen, But
Yeah,
there was one in.
How's that process? Is it like a batch of songs that you've already just made? These companies they own it, and there's like maybe like another like a mother company that just like takes all that.
Well, yeah, I'll get to that. Like
Yeah.
the first one was John Wick. There was one in the Kinsman. There was one in like a NBA2K. Yeah. There was one in NBA2K.
2K, I missed that one. I didn't see that.
Yeah. That one was interesting. You see like LeBron dunking, like I'm saying. I hear
LeBron
my voice,
dunking
I'm saying?
over
Like,
your
straight up, I
vocals,
was like,
right?
damn.
Like
But you never really know. You never find out until like it's out. Like once it's out, then you're like, oh,
That's me.
You don't really know
Yeah.
beforehand.
because it's a licensing thing,
Right,
I'm
exactly,
assuming,
right.
Like
And
you've
so-
already
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
you made these songs. You could have made these songs years ago.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
which brings me to my next point. Like that did happen also.
Okay.
Because off of that, the industry, as far as like sync licensing and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they hit me up. So they headhunted me. They found my email and they were just like, "Yo, you're Panther. We want to work with you." So I ended up doing some songs with specific companies who do that specifically for that. I
for
guess,
music
right?
video, like for
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 sync.
trailers and stuff.
So I did a bunch of songs with these people, and then years later, I find out one of them
Got
is
licensed.
licensed in
Wow.
the Fast and Furious. You know what I'm saying?
So in the end, like bottom line, that's just something you saw come out. You're like, there, but you've already been, I guess, at that point compensated for your work. Now it's at that point for the licensing. They take care of all that, and if you
Yeah,
get
a lot
your,
of the
you
first
get your residuals or whatever. But
right, but the
Yeah, I get what you're
the
saying.
first ones were through the label that signed the producer, because I was like just doing my thing by myself. I was unsigned.
okay,
at the
so
time.
you're a feature on the art.
I was a feature,
song.
exactly. I was a feature.
But they
on
still
the
have to
song.
pay you for that.
Well, yeah, exactly, like the royalties and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
but that came through them. But now, later on, after the company started headhunting me, then
Okay.
now my own merit
Yeah.
is
A little more
where
leverage.
That
They
work
came
comes
to
in.
you. Yeah.
Right,
at that
exactly.
point.
So then the work that I did, it's like it's nice to have accomplishments that are because someone found you,
Exactly.
and
yeah.
like not as a feature, right?
They came directly. Yeah, it starts off. You start off small and you come up.
Exactly.
They looking for you in the end. They're like, we need that voice.
Yeah.
It hypes up commercials. It hypes up. Like I'm just saying for that industry when you're
Yeah, for
doing
sure.
that stuff at the start. Let's say a trailer of the Fast and the Furious or something like that. You're seeing a car going fast. You're seeing they hear. Oh,
And there's like you want
hear
the
that
vibes.
right? You know,
No,
what I'm
it's
saying?
cool. It's very nice to see that because
100%.
like it's like if it feels like because you have to understand like the way that my band broke up. It seemed to me like some of the people thought I couldn't make it without them,
Okay,
or do anything or
Got
accomplish
you.
anything without them.
got you.
So like that's in my head, and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like,
But
I gotta
you got to keep
do
pushing.
something. I
keep
gotta lock
kicking.
in.
Yeah.
Because I went from like this like level of quality that I was expecting, which was like a high level of professionalism.
Yeah.
And none of the band members were replaceable. It wasn't like we could just like get somebody else and keep it
Everybody
moving.
played their part correctly.
Like, correctly, and it was complicated.
And it was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, after losing that, my level of production of what I was doing myself wasn't at that level yet. So I was like, I need to lock in until I can reach that level and exceed that level of like how well I can record and make a song and like write and all that kind of stuff. So
Because
like
you
as
can't
that
control
journey,
all facets at that point. I mean, if you're used to
Yeah.
somebody doing the amazing drumming and you're like, fuck.
you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you just
like,
gotta,
yeah.
But this is around the time I met you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
But you started making
So like I'd already started making
Exactly,
beats and
you
stuff. know what I'm
started doing
saying?
your thing.
So I was trying to figure it out at the same time this was happening. But cool. Okay, so here's a story about as I was invited to go to Russia.
Okay.
I was at one of the lowest points that I had ever been in like my life. You know what I'm saying? One of my biggest fears was like I don't want to be in Montreal in the wintertime with no job, trying to get money and trying to figure out how to live and all this kind of stuff. And like I was just like and that happened. I used to work at this bar. Shout out Cabaret Underworld.
Okay.
And
Underworld.
you remember that
Yeah,
spot? You remember that
Underworld,
spot? Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
Underworld. Yeah, I used to work there.
You know,
and
that's
so
where
that,
the you know, the,
yeah,
the
and the
bands
owner
come, right?
owner was a cool dude, you know what I'm saying? But he sold it. He just sold it randomly, you know, around Christmas.
Oh,
so
like-
at Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. I know,
Merry
like,
Christmas,
everybody,
goodbye,
you know what I'm saying? Everybody don't have a job. So now it's the dead of winter, and I'm like,
Wow.
trying to find, you know, a job and like bringing out resumes to places and all this kind of stuff. And like
Yeah.
at the time, like my computer was such a base model that like it
Working
could
with
only
it.
handle like
Bare
my
minimum. Your
music, like the
CPU's
DAW.
like,
Yeah, exactly. I didn't
Yeah.
even have like the programs for me to be able to like type up a resume and all this kind of stuff. I
Oh,
was like,
at that
yo,
point.
it was crazy. You know what I mean?
Got you,
So
got you.
that was my biggest fear at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got $30 in my pocket, like to my name. You know what I'm saying? And I'm invited to go to Russia at the same time. I'm like,
Wow.
this is a crossroads for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I asked you in that time about that, and you're quiet. You're like, how are you making your money? Like, what's going on? But I guess at that time, you officially broke.
It was before
going
that.
there.
Yeah, no, because
Because I asked you after the fact. I'm like, how did you pull this off? Like,
Wait, when?
I was inspired because I was like, how when we're in the basement after.
Oh no, it was long after that.
was
Because I hadn't seen any fruits from those projects at the time.
Well, I lived in the basement a while, so you know I was there
Because
for a while.
I was working at this place. Like after I had found a job and worked there for 4 years, around that time, things started to like
Yeah,
flourish
okay.
from those projects.
From those projects.
So yo, it was rough for a little bit, you know, and yeah, so I went to the airport with $30 to my name.
Wow.
And I like switched it to rubles or whatever, you know. I don't even know how much that is.
You were rich
I was
at
like,
that
you know,
point.
whatever,
You were
whatever.
okay
You know what I'm saying? So I get there, have an amazing time, and you have to keep in mind, like I hadn't found a job in 4 months. I was like, I had 2 weeks before I had to pay rent.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose a week because I'm gonna be in Russia, and then I'll have a week and to work long enough to get a paycheck to be able to pay rent the
To
next
come
month.
back,
Like
to bounce
there's
back.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was very much like a fork in the road, and I was like,
It's a risk.
Josh, why did you come here? Why did you come to Montreal? To sit here and go online and look for a job or to play music? And I went and I was like, I'm going. We're gonna see what happens. And
Took a chance.
in hindsight, that was like one of the best decisions I ever made.
Yeah.
And every decision I've made since then that had that level of fear attached to it, and I did the scary thing, has always paid off in some sort of way, you know?
Yeah. The music that you make now, you're making all you're basically writing your own music.
Yeah.
You're composing your own like I don't want to just call it beats because it's music. You're composing music. You're making real music, and what led you to that, to at least being able to do that, learning how to be so talented at making your own. I've heard your music, it's amazing, and every time I ask, I'm like, this is you? Like, it's like the production, you would think that there's a multi-million-dollar production
That's crazy.
people
That's wild.
behind that, so it's like, what got you into like programs and stuff like that? Like, I know we're pivoting back, but
It's like I just did it out of necessity because I was like, I'm an artist first, but I have to become a producer, because if I don't become a producer, then I'm shooting myself in the foot when I'm going to Montreal, and I got to find producers, and that's going to cost.
It was after your band left, right? So you learned all this.
It was before.
Okay.
Before they left. Before we even left to come to Montreal, I was like, I know I'm moving to Montreal, and all my homies who make beats are not going to be there.
Okay.
You know.
So
I was like, let me get started a year before, so at least it gave me a head start. But by the time I got here, I wasn't good enough to like start releasing, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But like by the time
I met you, you were already.
It was like
Bro.
something. It was something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I guess the vision was in my mind of like what I showed you like today.
Oh, today
that
was
that was like what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
It's just it was in my head because like creativity is like our brains, like our minds are so creative and so vastly capable as far as imagination since you're a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But our hands don't have the power. Our mouths don't have the vocabulary. We don't have the skills to bring that
bring it out,
to bring God. You know what I'm saying? You got God, like the Most High in the sky, like creativity, the Creator. You have that in your mind, and you don't have the tools to bring it into reality until you practice.
You have to learn it first, right? You have to learn first what you're doing, learn your craft, and then once you get to that learning, precipice, you start to dive in a little more on details.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just like you. Like I seen you come in here with all these cameras, and you talk about apertures and all. And listen, I know that's basic for a lot of people who do photography and stuff like that.
That's
but like just the way that you have details, like even Mike earlier was mentioning how you have like hard drives clamped to the cameras, and you got this because like you've been through every problem.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
I've literally been through every problem.
Like you're able to see things that other people miss because you have the eye for it and you're trained to hear to see certain things. You know what I mean?
I appreciate
and so
that.
it's like that level of professionalism. It's not even professionalism. It's acute next level thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, to be honest, you're right. Everything I have here is because of trial and error. And then like I literally, the reason why I have those clamps is like I told you, I was doing a paid gig, and I remember it was like a boxer who was like a well-known boxer, and I came home and it was a corrupted card, and I was like, and I remember how I did it too. I was doing like a pan into the ring, and this part right here on top of the camera bumped the rope.
Oh my goodness. That's like nothing too. That's crazy.
The SSD part, right? The connect, So I was like, oh my God. But I didn't think about it at the time.
Yeah.
When I got home is when I got screwed. But I still recovered it. Somehow I still
you still
I just spent $100 on that. So that dug into money I was making just
exactly, just to make it.
And those were the earlier days, right? So yeah.
Straight up, like the microphone that I use to this day, I bought it for like $400, and I didn't have any money to get anything else.
Yeah.
So it's like I couldn't use that microphone to record music because I didn't have the interface. I didn't have this. I got every piece of my studio like one by one, piece by piece.
Exactly.
So I'm the patience, the vision. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it needs to be done correctly.
Yeah. And just to have the patience. You know what I mean? Like it was like I being able to imagine something, like everything is imagination.
Yeah.
Everything in this room is imagination.
That's right.
It was in somebody's head as this like formless, timeless, immaterial substance that's just as real as the physics. Like this chair, somebody thought it in their mind. They're like, yellow, black, brown. Okay, black, lock that in. Okay, what's the size of it? Okay, what's these studs
Rivets.
on the side? Exactly. And they locked it in.
Somebody thought about it.
And the first art. Yeah, that's what it is. Like the first thing the first iteration or the first apparition of this couch into the physical world was probably a drawing.
Yeah, it didn't look like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, which materials am I going to use? Okay, leather. Okay, well this type of leather rips too easily. Let's try this one. And all of a sudden now I'm sitting in it and we're here.
Yeah, no.
And it's just as real as
perfection
anything
takes
else.
time.
Yeah, straight up. So it's like imagination is something that I hold very dear. Like I need to be able to live a life that generates art by itself, because otherwise I'm gonna have writer's block. which I don't believe in writer's block, and I say this all the time. Like, it's not real. It's a symptom of something else. If you say, "Oh, I got writer's block, I can't write anything," then it's like saying I have a cough and being like, "Oh, sometimes people get coughs." It's like, nah, you're sick.
Yeah, you're sick.
Do something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Something's wrong.
Yeah, change your environment. Go for
Yeah.
a walk. You know.
We need to live a life that generates art. There's some things
the
that people
gym.
just like, this like lives. Yeah, exactly. Go to the gym. You know what I mean? Lock in.
So during all that time, basically I noticed, you've been an artist going into like 2020. I haven't seen you in many years, but online I've noticed some activity, and I noticed that you started to, I think you started during COVID, really started to, blow up on TikTok and stuff like that, and Instagram.
Right.
You have like a presence. You've been promoting, wealth and I mean not wealth, but mental health and wealth.
Right, exactly.
Wellness.
Like we're doing like like motivational content and stuff like that. I watched the news the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, and I started to feel sick, like as if I caught it or something like that. And it was just fear. People, you remember how it was? People just falling out in the streets, people dying and all sorts of. They had like these mobile incinerators or whatever they had. I was like, yo, what is this? And I started to notice the fear creeping in to me. Yeah. And I was like, it's the news.
Yeah.
And I stopped watching the news and haven't watched it since.
You're right.
And I was like, we have two ways we can go about this. If we're going to be on lockdown and all this kind of stuff, which Montreal's lockdown is crazy. Don't even get me started about that.
Yeah.
Like,
we did go through a hectic.
People are going to.
I ran from the police a couple times.
Oh, for real?
I mean, I had no choice. They were trying to give me a ticket. I was partying, and they come raid the spot. I was like, we're out of this bitch.
Which one of these cameras is mine? Sometimes you have no choice but to run from the police.
Oh man.
No, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Back to the TikTok, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
So no, but it started because of the pandemic. So basically what happened was like I realized this is gonna make now anybody who says, oh, I don't have time for this or that, now you have the time. Everybody was locked down.
Yeah.
So people were either gonna lock in and do all the stuff they said they never had time for, or they're just gonna drink 3 times as much, you know what I'm saying, smoke 3 times as much, eat 3 times as much, and then end up worse at the end of it. I was like, I'm locking in. I'm gonna start training every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Making more music. I'm gonna start making content because I'm not releasing anything. Not releasing.
Yeah, but what started you?
It halted the music.
What got you in there? Like you really went forward with it. Like you remember kind of
yeah.
Like on another level, like Tory Lanez with his thing. He started going viral with his, and then you started going viral. It's
I don't even know how it was. It was wild. It was really born from
it's like everybody just went online and went viral.
Exactly.
For being themselves.
And that was the thing. It was I was like, okay, I'm not releasing music. It kind of halted all my plans.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be in LA. I was supposed to be doing a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
But it halted all my plans, and so I was like, okay, I can't release anything. So I got to be online. I got to make myself known somehow.
Yeah, you don't want to be forgotten.
I don't want to just be forgotten about. You know what I'm saying?
Because this industry.
So I started making content. I was like, I realized you don't have to be known just for music. You can be known for anything.
Yeah.
And then that will help your music career later on down the line, because they're like, oh yeah, I knew this guy did this type of content, or I saw this person. Look, Drake was an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Childish Gambino was an actor. They were known for something else, and now they're known as rappers.
Yeah.
Musicians.
Rappers, yeah.
Actors, all that stuff too, right? So it's it doesn't matter what I do online as long as it's valuable to people. So I was like, what do I know best? I don't snap. I feel like I'm a well-rounded person in my head. So I was like, let me talk about the solutions I came up with for the problems that I solve in my own life, and the people that are dealing with them right now.
Yeah.
I'll become their champion. You know what I'm saying?
Because I noticed you're following, you were really talking to people. People are, it's I was like, damn, man, this guy, he's really, and you were given good, quotes and good, things to help people really get through that time.
It's just creativity.
But I remember you were really killing that. I always remember it every time. Like it was like that theme song. What was it?
Oh right, what's it called?
That's the one.
The Blade Runner.
It's the one.
I still use that.
It
too.
doesn't matter. As soon as it doesn't matter when I'm like, what is it? Oh, it's something. You know.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter
up.
who puts it. It's like I hear it.
If you have
catchy.
a certain type of
It's
topic,
so catchy.
there's always something that's
So-
like, yeah, I love that sound too. I still use it.
You used it when it went viral, and you just kept it.
I
It's
just
like
kept
your
it, yeah.
vibe.
Yeah,
you know?
straight up.
Because you
Straight
hear
up.
it and you're like, okay, and it's true what you're saying, and it blends well, and I'm pretty sure people absorb it.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was like the TikTok like heyday, I guess. You know.
So after COVID, everything opens up.
People started getting busy again, doing
Started
all sorts of
getting
stuff.
busy.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh,
You
man.
did.
Yeah.
I noticed you did. You had told me you did some missionary work. You went.
Yeah, straight up. Yo, COVID was a time for me to lock in with the Lord.
Okay. Yeah. This was okay.
Yeah, straight up. But it had started like before the pandemic.
Okay.
Because I realized, like, man, I remember all those times my dad would be like, yo, I know we've been, locking in and studying the Bible and all this kind of stuff, but you're a kid right now. One day you're going to be grown up.
Yeah.
And you're going to decide if you even believe this a little bit, it's going to be your responsibility to take this into your own hands. I was like, all right, Dad.
Yeah.
But then I had that, like, moment when you wake up,
Yeah.
you
Like an epiphany.
late 20s, you're just like,
Look.
I got to stop all this foolishness.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That happened for me a little bit later in life, but definitely happened.
Yo.
Definitely happened.
Yo, it did it. So I just started studying the Bible, man. Like I started like locking in almost like it was like FBI detectives that have all the connecting all the dots.
Yeah.
I was
your
going
dots
in.
were connected.
People started looking at me different. I was like, yo, it is what it is.
I ran into you one time during I think this man. It was before COVID. I think it was before COVID, but I ran into you out at some outing. Remember, it was after hour one time.
Yeah. I remember.
I
Yeah.
think.
Where was it?
I remember I saw you and I was like, yo. I remember me and we'd stopped kicking it for a bit, but it was just we had stopped seeing. I'd moved and I was moving to.
It wasn't Chattagee, because you're in Chattagee right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Chattagee right now.
You were on the other. You were in Laval, like.
Yeah, I was in Laval
Before that.
and then I moved. Yeah, to Chattagee. That's exactly.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. It was like
So
right in the, yeah.
basically, all that during that time I ran off. I was rambling. Hold on, let me back it up.
It's good.
What was I saying there? I totally lost.
You were saying we
my-
like lost touch for a bit,
Oh yeah, but there was a point. I guess.
and we ran into each other at the. Because I was talking about how like
Oh
like,
yeah, I ran into you at way back when, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, I hope Panther still cool with me, bro. Because I remember like I used to record for you back in the day, and I was doing some, and I just kind of like, I was doing some things. I just kind of cut people off. I was like not talking to a lot of people, and like it was kind of like just like a personal thing I was dealing with to try to kind of like filter my lifestyle out.
Oh,
and
for sure.
And I remember I ran into you at this spot, and I was like, damn, does he think I don't like this motherfucker no more?
No, it's all love. It's all love.
But I guess you were saying that was at your time where you were going through your
Yeah, I
journey.
feel like it was like a year.
So-
It was a time.
You said there was some standoffish kind of vibes. People were looking at you, whatever. So I guess.
Well, no, it wasn't. I wouldn't say standoffish. I would say more that people were mourning who I used to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like people that like knew me pretty well
Yeah.
were seeing this is not the same dude no
It's
more.
not the same guy. His
know what I mean?
values are changing.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't trying to do all this craziness with us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
then that was probably like the last times you were probably in. I think were you wearing like a dashiki or something, like one of those.
I know.
I swear you were wearing some African
Oh, you know what? Maybe. I did have
I'm
one.
dead serious
I
about
did
that.
have one. I did have one.
This is not a joke. I didn't.
But
make
that
this
wasn't
shit
like
up.
the first. Hold on. Okay. This was not a result of the awakening. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. He's like, this is just who I am.
That's
You
just
can
I
catch
just
me
had one.
rolling
You
in
know what I'm
that.
saying?
Yes, I actually have family that visited Africa. Actually, I'm African descent myself.
Yeah,
And
which
I have
country?
family. Huh?
Which country? Do you know?
Well, so off of the the ancestry.com, it says
Okay.
Congo,
Oh, for real?
Senegal.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Okay, so you're
yeah.
Bantu. I didn't even know that.
I don't even know. You just told me.
That's wild. No, because Congo and Senegal have like they're pretty far apart.
Okay.
They're like
yeah.
half the continent apart.
Well,
but like there's a lot of countries that kind of have the same like I guess group like tribes.
There's one more
you know?
too, but I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
It is closer to one of the two though, like one of the two that I said there.
Right. So like
know?
Mali or something. Or like,
I can't remember, but I know there's one that I checked on the map. They're like really close to each other.
Right.
And then yeah.
Right. That makes sense. But yeah, so that led to the missionary work.
Yeah.
Which is one of the homies from church. This is a dude, ex-military, like Marine, like Navy SEAL. You know what I'm saying? Grew up in the Bahamas, and then later on moved to Florida.
Okay.
And did a lot of his like formative years over there.
Okay.
Played football. Ended up in the Navy SEALs, and this guy has like stories for days. Like this guy's like right now he's probably around just under 70, but he's the most jacked guy I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Nicest dude that you'll ever meet.
But he's in shape.
He's
motherfucking old in shape.
Super in shape. But not only that, he's like you can tell just by how he behaves himself. He's seen some things.
Okay.
He's seen some things. But this dude was like basically asked myself, another brother that I have at church, and another two brothers, to come and help talk to some people, because like he wanted to go back to his hood, and because I don't know if you ever you heard anything about the hood in the Bahamas, but it's like it's rough.
Okay.
It's not like Detroit rough. It's like
okay. It's Caribbean rough.
It's rough.
Yeah, alongside with.
So we went to the trap house to talk about the Lord.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like a black woman like in the front, and she's like the head. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She's like braiding hair type of thing.
Okay.
And we're over here just like, listen, we just came from Canada to tell y'all like but not on some like in suits and everything. Like,
yeah.
We're just regular people.
Regular people pulling up.
Exactly.
Preaching
Straight up the gospel. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And like just being like, they really connected with us, man. They really connected with us, and we came back like 2 days later. We went around the whole place talking to a bunch of people he knew from his childhood and this and that, and kept in contact with them and like did the Lord's work. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
Okay. How long were you out there for?
Only there for like a week.
Oh, really?
Maybe like 5 days, but we was like,
okay.
We got there, had a little something to eat, and went straight to the hood.
Okay. Did you feel like you accomplished what you went there for?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I've done that here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
People are a lot more rough over here. You know what I'm saying? They was over there like one of the dudes. Actually, the dude that invited us down there, he's there and he's preaching the gospel to the guy who's literally trapping, right here trapping.
Okay.
There's people coming up to him trying to buy drugs, and he's just like, man, get out of here. These are men of God.
Okay.
I can't sell you drugs in front of
He's
him.
trying to filter this out. It's just a real life situation,
Yo, straight up. And the guy came back like 3 times, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But they're connecting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're really connecting with us, and like, because it could have got real violent. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it was one of them things. Like it's like, if they didn't have certain information, I should say, then we would have been food for sure.
Okay. You had basically a chaperone, somebody there that was.
We had
from there that was.
We had the right words. We
had the
right words, and we came in the right spirit.
Okay.
Because they saw us and like.
But no
as soon as they just the guy like the guy that invited us, he was with us because he's from there. It was his neighborhood. Like,
okay, so
like right by his old house.
You did have like some kind of
exactly
because that is kind of risky, going to a foreign country.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It wasn't just like we didn't raw dog the Bahamas, like
yeah.
You
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying?
I have gone like I've left the hotel and gone to like take taxis in like Jamaica and stuff like that, and that could have ended up bad too. It was just but got lucky, I guess.
Straight up.
People tell me it's like but maybe it was the area I was. It was in the grill. I don't know if it was
Right.
It was
Okay.
too
I mean,
crazy.
sometimes you got a spirit on you,
Yeah.
and like
And
the spirit is like it won't
protecting you,
won't allow people to touch you like that. They're just looking at you a certain way. So it's
yeah,
yeah.
that eye.
Other places that different.
So where are you at with your music today?
Right now, I'm at the tail end of reinventing myself. I've had a lot of evolution in the music, and I'm starting to understand more who I am and how I create, have a sound that's more distinct, and so I've made an extensive vault
I saw that
of
vault.
music.
That is you better have that triple backed up.
You know what I'm
And on the
saying?
cloud.
Yo, straight up. I know, right? And I've realized who I am musically and nailed down what my message is, at least in this point in time, because I'm thinking about the different eras of Panther, the ones that have been in the past, the ones that are going to be in the future, the one that's current. And I think the overarching message between all three of those past, present, and future is we build what was promised.
Right.
Because you enter this world and it's nothing but wonder, nothing but promise, nothing but positivity and a future in front of you. And anyone in their right mind knows that the world is sick. And so, a lot of people might look at my music and see themselves in it. Because it's like it's not music that's for church people really.
Yeah.
Because I've never been like a churchy type of person.
Just a mindful thought person that wants
Just a thoughtful person, you know what I'm saying?
engage with the listener.
Yeah.
And have them
exactly
thinking.
And I do go to church, and like my music has always been kind of thoughtful and introspective, but it's for people right now. It's for people who are looking at the world and thinking to themselves, something is gravely wrong here. And they're in the pipeline. They don't want to necessarily like just go out and party and numb themselves. They don't want to escape. They realize that life is long. It's not short. If you feel like life is long or life is short, go to a prison. I bet you everybody in there thinks it's long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Time different.
It's very, very different.
The
in the way
time
that
runs
they're perceived.
different over there.
Yeah, so that's what my music is for, and I'm really thinking that because I've connected with myself, I'll have an easier time connecting with others. So that's in a nutshell where I'm at with my music.
Yeah. Well, that's all right, man. Everybody elevates. You got to grow, and it's good to be at that level where now you can help others with your thoughts
with the vision,
Exactly.
And like between what I've been working on myself, the stuff I got working on with Dog Records, I think that we're ready to change the world.
All right, man. One quick question, I think, before we end this off. What's the state of the rap game to you? Who you messing with? Who's your
Right. So the state of the rap game, I would say the state of the rap game. That's a big question. The state of the rap game.
Your perception.
It's in flux.
Yeah.
It's constantly moving. You know what I mean? So like, you have rappers that are experimenting with different genres and bending genres. You can move in the direction of like a Playboy Cardi. You can move in the direction of like a Glorilla.
What about Saw
You know
Baby?
what I'm saying? What's that?
Saw Baby. You never heard about him?
I think so. I think you told me about him. I think you told me about him. Yeah,
he's dope, man. He's blowing up. Doing
yeah.
his thing.
And I love what the West Coast is doing. Remble is a cool artist.
It's Ramble. I remember. I think.
Yeah.
West Coast.
West Coast.
Yeah,
West Coast. I've always loved
yeah.
like Vince Staples, Kendrick.
Okay. Okay. So you're not a Drake fan?
I mean, like
He's like, I'm just listening.
I will say this. The highest level of respect that I had for Drake was around the time when he released Worst Behavior. Like
Worst
the
Behavior?
started from the bottom to worse behavior, like that era of Drake's music
Okay.
was the greatest for me because I was like, damn, like he really is hitting on something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
You know
From
what I mean?
Canada, right? Like you talking
Especially
about,
from Canada.
Canada.
But I also have
And best
respect
in the
for, like,
world, I guess.
for
at
the
that point.
Weeknd, Tory
He
Lanez.
literally
Like
toured
Canada
the whole
is taking
world.
over.
Yeah,
You know, Canada's taking over, but
definitely.
Canada don't have love for Drake like the States have love for Drake. Like we love
Hey, man, I think they
love
turned
us some
on him
Drake,
now.
you know. I
They
mean,
just
hey,
turned on him.
nobody leaves this industry clean.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves this industry
Exactly.
clean. If you look, I mean, nobody black at least, you know what I'm saying, leaves this industry in like
You gotta be
scot free.
tarnished a little bit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be tarnished a little bit. It's true. They can't leave you over there with all that influence.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Well, yo, we're gonna close this off, man. Definitely had a good conversation with you.
Yeah, man.
And
Always a
yo,
pleasure.
we're looking forward to working in the future.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
some projects. You know, we're gonna make some movies, make it happen. I'm glad that you're able to share your journey with us and with me. You know, and I definitely enjoyed watching your growth and everything you've done. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you, you know, got in the future, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think the future is the future smells like collaboration.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
So
man.
we
You're doing
definitely
good
gonna
stuff,
tap in.
man. You're, you know,
Yeah,
definitely
man.
amazing artist, and you know, that's it, man. Take it easy.
Word up. See, I love it because the front looks crazy. You know what I'm saying? Into the mood lounge.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
real. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Locked in.
What?
I do want to show you this plant. This plant has been with me since I moved in this apartment. You know,
Okay.
it's been through
Since
everything.
this apartment?
This apartment right here.
Okay, so it's like, okay.
It heard all my music.
Through all the
it
journeys.
knows all my secrets. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Straight up. This I got it. I met up with a producer. This is a girl. Her name is Laf Audio. She gave me a little clipping of I think it's a spider plant. In a little, she gave it to me in like a little bottle. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I took that thing home. I planted it.
And that was it.
This is what it is.
This is what sprouted from me.
It sprouted, you know what I'm saying?
It's thriving.
It had some kids, man.
It's thriving.
This
Okay,
is just
yeah,
like sons,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You got two sons.
I see
you know
that,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Man, God got me.
Make me
you know
so-
what I'm saying? If this plant is living, everything's cool.
You're good.
I'm good. So yeah, man. This is live.
Yeah. Now spit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, straight up. You know, like it's almost like a dude, what's his name? Too Free or something like that.
Too free.
He was like a West Coast dude that was rapping.
Oh, or
like,
sugar free or something?
Sugar free.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sugar free. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sugar free. Yeah,
I think he still makes music. I think he still makes music.
Is he still in
But-
jail?
No.
Okay, good, because that's crazy.
No.
That video was long.
One of those old school LA pimps.
Yo, straight
Or
up.
Bay Area pimps. Yeah,
He
that's it.
He sounds like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen some funny interviews with that guy, bro. Where he's like, "Yo, brother, tone it. Can you tone it down a bit? Like, this is a square we're talking to. Some hyphy shit, for sure. That what? Yeah. Ooh. Woo. Okay, you got the ozone on there. You ain't playing.
They always got that that one thing that the music makes it like. It's like hypnosis. There's like an element that's like hypnotic. What am I saying? That's it.
Hey.
Wish I could
this is all you. Jeez. Share mine. Yo, that's crazy, bro.
Yo, appreciate you.
Crazy, dog.
Yo, that's what's up. Yeah, you know, so it's just like
and you put all that together. That's like, yo, what do you
like 2 days ago.
You're 2 days ago.
Straight up.
You're gonna be You're gonna be. Are you booked for the jazz festival yet?
Not yet. I still gotta do the deadline for